have to sit here like this in such a way. I'm sitting here. Alright, we'll start the video when I'm ready to. And that could be any time. I'll just take some moments to sit here for a few. Get that tape put back on the tire case, alright. I don't know what the hell happened with this. It's a bit of a situation. What happened? Well, you wanna set that down first before you start talking? I have time while my mini pizza spins around until it's ready to be eaten and all that kind of thing. I'll just do a quick clarification. I had started to get bored with the monster design, so I started putting different faces inside that silhouette of it. It kind of made it my, kind of like almost like a brand signature, kind of just a style. I was into making symbols, sigils, graphics, a lot of illustrative art. That was probably like 14 years ago or something. Anyway, I decided to put a cat in the center of it. It was a mixture of a cat that I had named Vinny. It also kind of looked like Top Cat, I think. It was kind of an homage to Top Cat as well. I remember that time that person named Lost Cat was starting to do the cats and putting them on the paper plates and then stapling them to the telephone poles and everything like that. I don't mind the precursor to being kind of like the anti-hero of this town, because being an antisocial person came basically from, being kind of people trying to push me aside constantly from everything all the fucking time, and getting no shows, no galleries, having people gaslight me, blindside me, act one way to me in person, and then when things came down to mattering, act completely different way. But I had to be in the area, and I was placed in this area to where leaving wasn't always totally possible or anything like that. I don't know how many times you've had it where you wanted to get out of somewhere and then had a monumental repair cost happen for a vehicle, or you ended up getting lied to about a motorbike that was sold to you. I had a 750 C, what was it, 750C or CB 750 something Honda I was gonna travel the country on, and the person that sold it to me lied about some shit, so I had to spend a lot of time trying to fix something on it that would never be fixed with the recharge system. I sold that probably 6 years ago. It just sat around for a while. I don't know, I think that Lost Cat person kind of liked the character I was doing, the monster moniker, which had its own name. I won't get much into the details because I don't have to and I don't want to right now about the name of it and the lineage of the monster. But I just have to say I was bored of doing the same graphic again and again and again, so I started to do it as a cat. Later on, I have to stake my claim and defend myself for me starting into wanting to do a cat, and then having the accusation that I was copying somebody who probably liked what I was doing and everything like that, and got into doing things themselves. But they're not really, their popularity started to surpass what I was doing as the Ithaca Monster, but at the same time they were going around marking up my creature. So basically the person that got me to step back, and I just became so frustrated from what they were doing to my symbol, because in their own mind and in their own world they thought they were doing something nice to me by going and just marking the eyes all the fucking time on it and everything like that, and it wasn't cool to me. I didn't like that they were doing that very much at all. I have my own opinions about that, which aren't going to get me anywhere if I speak about them. I know a lot of others that don't get their opinions voiced so well actually share how they feel about it. I'm not going to eat on the camera. I was in a bit of a important hurry to get my mini pizza. But anyway, yeah. I had my cat creature going quite a bit before the paper plates were even started with the lost cat person, because that's what they started to do it. I thought that was actually unique when it came to the wall art thing and everything like that, and everyone, kind of became a fanatic about it. I was just wondering, the part, if you guys loved the person so much, why didn't you save him from dying? There's a lot of chances. A lot of these people that are the antisocial moniker makers and everything like that, you act like you support them quite a bit, and then you let them become in a devastating lifestyle, and then they end up dying, and then you have kind of like a martyr, or you have somebody that's dead that you can keep mourning, rather than you could have actually kept that person alive and everything like that. So I don't think I'm any stranger towards having a repercussion of being judged for not fitting in a town that claims itself to be extremely alternative, which it is. It's really not. I've had places. I really wanted to try getting some weekend shows and galleries done at places like the Kava Bar. I reached out to Deep Dive to see if they'd let me do a show there, and I think I bring a lot to the atmosphere of music. And I don't think there should really have been anybody against what I wanted to represent when it comes to the style and exploration of the music that I do. But I'd get gate capped or whatever, by those people. They're way too trendy and way too pretentious, and they're very judgy people. And since no one could put me into a box or a filter or anything like that, they just treated me like I didn't exist. And I started meeting these people I thought were my friends, and I asked them how you can. How do you play shows? How do you get hooked up with doing shows around here? And they just like kind of kept me at a distance and said, stuff like maybe it's in my own head and stuff. And then I asked them, and I asked people around about playing shows, and they all just gaslit the hell out of me. Meanwhile, I had this hidden character that everyone liked and everything. It was this moniker I was doing, and the person that they celebrated and then ended up dying was somebody that actually made me not want to do my own moniker, because they went around, uh, covering it up and putting their red marks all over the eyes and everything like that. And I didn't appreciate that. I thought that was disrespectful. I wasn't messing about with that person's monikers whatsoever. I had far too many things going on in my own life. I was trying to balance and adapt to, and situate so that I could continue to at least hopefully stay alive. But I'm just going to say that first too. A lot of these people that you find an air of mystery about or celebrate are people that pretty much can't function in your small college town lifestyle, because you have really rich privileged people who come in, and then you have people that are really not doing well whatsoever. And there's a very um, blurred vantage point of where people are actually going in the long run with things. It seems to run off of tension and frustration and misdirection. And the people that are really well off and everything, they'll never understand living in the reality of the things that they say and think that they represent. And it makes it very, very hard for anybody that's in the middle ground between tomorrow life could be a devastation, versus these other people that have their asses saved all the time by their rich parents, pretty much, is how I'll put it. And it doesn't sound so, graceful or whatever, but it's not a graceful thing to try to describe. Um, but I'm just there to, I have whatever proof I need also to show that I was bored with, the creature I'd been making. I came back to illustrating it and enjoying it on and off, like way later on, but doing the same thing again and again and again and again and again. Obviously, others would become irritated with that, and I myself, I like to create. It's not just a thing about like, it's not some ego thing. It's not some hey look at me thing. It was more of a thing about, hey, I'm trying to interact with the community, and they're not even having any chance for me to perform in. So this is my way of connecting to the community. Everybody needs some form of socializing outward with people in one way or another, and that was my way to do it. And then when people started to go around and, be destructive about stuff that anyone not into that world would probably find destructive themselves, I have a bit of an understanding about it and everything, but there's a bit of some immature and, disrespectful endeavors, and then seeing that, that person become basically like the flagship of you know wall art expression and everything like that. I felt very underwhelmed by that, and I felt like, somebody that was trying to destabilize my own voice was unknowingly held up by the public, so they were trading off having kind of one character available so that they could instead replace it with a stick figure, like a stick figure that over time degraded, and this stick figure became more of a representation of the mental decline and the chemical addiction that they were going through, which at this point, if you're speaking of the deceased, it's not going to be any good repertoire of discussion. It's kind of done at that point. But, you know, there's a lot of people that started to come in and run every little bit of an industry around here, and in person to me, to my face, they were very, very rude, dismissive, and very shitty as compared to the virtuous, self emblematic notion that they applied to their personality. They were very nasty types of people, and then they don't even know that what hidden world my moniker was and everything like that, because they enjoyed that quite a bit. But then to my face, I was a person they would very much pass opportunities on for galleries, for shows, and all this kind of thing. So it's this world of having that as an ongoing, and I couldn't be happier to get out of here or go into any further out counties, as soon as I possibly can. There are, if you have to do things however you can, though, as somebody that creates, if you're stuck in the world of DIY, um, you're going to create things with more of a sense of urgency and passion. And everyone came in and they just, run everything now. You're supposed to pass through this person who runs this committee and runs that committee. And I have to say, I really believe that they're very, very corrupt, and they have a very selected viewpoint for what it means to do artwork or have, kind of a slant on things. And I'm saying it right now too because it can't hurt me any further necessarily about, people making it so you cannot play festivals, you can't get gigs at shows and this and that. And me having one canceled the day of my show performing and getting this really like bombastic attitude towards me. I'm not the best at socializing, which is why I do the creations that I do and everything like that. But they make it really where there's this like splintered um, intent to try to disassociate you from being able to have any further opportunities. And whatever passion that I have within myself is not going to die out or anything. I mean, people can try to make it even harder and make it almost impossible, but as long as I can, get enough of a recharge of sleeping every once in a while in my life and everything, I'll put that passion out and through. And I have my own facts about what has happened to this area over time, and people that move in and are privileged and preach this and that about non-privileged or whatever like that. I mean, they drive vehicles, they don't have to have like repairs done on the spot to hope that they can make it through actually leaving on a trip. They got all their things packed up, and you know it's like some sort of like Greenwich Village overload of people that came in and ruined it, and they don't realize they're the people that ruin things. And then the people that they celebrate, that they don't know who they really are, the people that they celebrate, they just let the people they celebrate struggle, and then the people that they celebrate stop existing. And then they replace them with another flagship of somebody that has the struggle in their soul that has to be put outwards. So that's kind of what I have to say about that, and it's what I have to say about outsider art. it's a message I needed to kind of get off and explain. I was gonna do some, on spot locations, talking about certain forms of moniker art history, and you know, have different settings of doing the videography of it and turn it into kind of a media collage. But I just don't have that ton of time in my life at all to do that. But I'm hoping to find that you can't be a seed that put its roots in the ground, and then you had all of your roots extracted by people who came in and then poured concrete under where your roots were, and then they painted roots on top of the concrete, and then they said we're organic. That's the visage about that I have. So and at this point, um with those places that I had been familiar about just reaching out to get anything creative done, I am halting getting anything connected with that anymore, because they basically said, you're not a person. We're not going to work with you whatsoever. And then you start to respond at that point. And then the way that you act once people do that to you is how you're judged, not the things you're trying to get across in the first place. So that's just kind of an instance of being extremely gaslit. But I love the things that inspire me, and I can only just hope to have some more time in my future to create some things and all that kind of thing. So that's just kind of a vlog about that. A little bit too close to the sun, but it will keep one from drowning in the sea anyway.